Welcome to SummitVBFan. I'm your host, Jeremy Cleveland, and once again, I will be your guide throughout the 2026 Summit League volleyball season on this feed. Well, with the temperature pushing almost 100 degrees outside today, it is hard to believe we're just a little over 30 days away from the college volleyball season. Counting. Yeah, we're going to have matches for real on August the 28th. So it's time to get back in the gym, have the official practices, get a few exhibition matches under our belt, and then August the 28th is the day I can't wait for. I'm fired up for the season. I hope you are as well. I'll have a couple more previews before August the 28th. This is just going to be a little bit of a teaser. We're going to talk about the Summit League history, talk about some of the talent returning, talk about some new fresh faces in the conference, and then also talk about some of the opportunities that are on the schedule. Speaking of schedules, we're still waiting on one schedule. North Dakota should be posting their schedule shortly. They've been doing a great job on the recruiting front for 2028. Can't wait to see what they come up with a schedule. Still waiting on a few rosters to post as well. Once we have all that information, I'll produce my power polls, my rankings, and have a few of you scratching your head to see if I know anything about volleyball or not. Time will tell on that front anyway. Before we get started on this particular show, special thanks to VBAdrenaline.com. Yes, I don't have a ton of followers yet, but Darren and company at VBAdrenaline.com have agreed to simulcast this show to help expand the reach of Summit VB Fan and Summit League volleyball in general. So once again, special thanks to VBAdrenaline.com. Also, special thanks to Coyote on volleytalk.proboards.com, doing a tremendous job posting some of my content out there, but most importantly, keeping the Summit League on page number one of a national site. Yes, the Summit League on page one. I also list a lot of other special thanks to names that have been active on that site, but a lot of enthusiasm and excitement for Summit League volleyball. So great to see. And right now on Volley Talk, if you haven't, you can vote for the two teams that you think will reach the Summit League championship this year. I looked at the vote before recording. 53 votes so far out there. Number one team on the board, the defending tournament champions, the Tommies of St. Thomas. They have the most votes. South Dakota State comes in at number 2, South Dakota at number 3, and Omaha at number 4. Just thinking about that, I wonder if the rival schools are voting for each other at all. I don't know. South Dakota State, South Dakota, they may be giving that second spot to St. Thomas or Omaha and not voting for each other. There is one vote right now out there for North Dakota State. That's great to see. Am I a homer? Yeah, I probably am. Not sure, but check it out once again at volleytalk.proboards.com. Follow that Summit League feed, engage, interact, and make sure you vote for the two teams that you think will reach the championship game. Now, as we start this preview, I want to go back in history, right? The Summit has evolved. It's a great story. 25 years ago, well, the Summit League wasn't even the Summit League. It was the Mid-Continent Conference. Oral Roberts in Kansas City are still around, but teams like Valparaiso, IUPUI, Western Illinois, Chicago State, and Oakland from that year, they're long gone. Where were the rest of the Summit League schools at that time? Well, St. Thomas was in the MIAC Division III. Everyone else was in the North Central Conference of Division II. So to me, that makes the Summit League story even more special. A whole bunch of D2 and D3 teams from 25 years ago have built up this league into a top 10 volleyball conference. That's kind of special. The Jackrabbits and the Bison joined in 2007. Coyotes followed in 2011, Omaha in 2012, North Dakota, the Fighting Hawks in 2018, and finally St. Thomas rounded it out in 2021. Now, over the last 5 years, and somewhere along the way, I had a college coach tell me, please evaluate programs in 5-year cycles. You got to give us a chance to recruit and see those recruits become seniors. So that's why I always look at things in 5-year cycles. And South Dakota ranks number 1 in the Summit over the last 5 years, winning 77.4% of their matches. They're a model of consistency. Saw this stat the other day. I think 10 consecutive years with 10 wins or more in Summit League matches. Yeah, tip your cap to the consistency at South Dakota. Omaha, very impressive. 75% win percentage in Summit League action over the last 5 years. South Dakota State, the model of late, 31-1 over the last 2 years. They've won 70.2% of their matches in Summit League action over a 5-year cycle. North Dakota State, very respectable, 54.8%. Kansas City at 44%. St. Thomas, 33.3%. Yeah, the Tommies are on the rise. They had a tough start to the transition period, but they peaked at the right time. First time they were eligible for the NCAA tournament, they made it. They won the conference tournament championship. Oral Roberts, number 7 at 25%, and North Dakota checks in at number 8 at 22.6% win percentage in Summit League action. Next page on the screen here, you'll see year-by-year trends. And look at Omaha. How good were they for 4 years there? 16-2, 14-4, 12-4, 14-2. They stubbed their toe, took a step back last year, but they're a team I expect to bounce back in a hurry. And don't look at their overall numbers because they've always played a tough non-conference schedule historically. That's a very good Mavericks program. I expect them to bounce back this season. South Dakota, we talked about the consistency. Look at St. Thomas. How about that? 2-16, 2-16, 3-13, and then 10-6, 11-5 each of the last 2 years. Great to see their rise here in the Summit. Even Kansas City, couple good years, 2021, 12-6, 2023, 12-4. Oral Roberts had a winning year in 2021, going 11-7 in the Summit. I'll call out North Dakota State. Bison 13-5 in 2022, and then 10-6 last year. So some good years there for the Bison as well here in the Summit League. Next page here. How about the award winners returning for 2026 that give this conference and league such a strong foundation? Starting with the 2-time Player of the Year at South Dakota State. Oh boy, is she fun to watch. She's back for a third opportunity to win Player of the Year. But Sylvia is there, and she's going to have the Jackrabbits in the mix once again. The league also returns the Setter of the Year from St. Thomas. Morgan Keeley is back for another round. They also returned the Freshman of the Year. Schmidt, very impressive year last year. She's back for St. Thomas as well. We have our 2-time defending Coach of the Year, Coach Dan at South Dakota State. He's back as well. Then 4 other first-team all-league selections are returning for 2026. Para Lawrence, one at North Dakota State, one at South Dakota, 2 elite top-notch players. Great to see them back for the Bison and the Coyotes this year. Then the Jackrabbits return a couple other first-teamers, Riley Martin and Madison Burr as well. Second team all-league selection from a year ago. 5 different players returning. Ariana Bloom, she brings the boom at North Dakota State. She's back. Then you have Bodie Van Hook, Amanda at South Dakota, along with Courtney Smith at Oral Roberts. From the all-freshman team, in addition to Schmidt at St. Thomas, you have Klein at South Dakota State, Ball at South Dakota, Venable at Omaha, and Raya Bohr at North Dakota State, all back in the mix. So that is a great foundation for a league, having that much returning talent. And in the world of the transfer portal and everything else, great to see so much talent returning to the Summit League for 2026. Next page, one of the positions that stands out when it comes to the Summit is the setter position. It's kind of setting the standard in the Summit. You have 3 of the top 42 setters from a year ago returning. And keep in mind, there's 50 Division I volleyball programs, and we have 3 of the top 42 in the nation for setters in the Summit League. Riley Martin at South Dakota State, Avery Van Hook at South Dakota, Morgan Keeley at St. Thomas. They do a whole lot more than assists per set, though. The digs are there. A lot of special talent there from those 3 setters in the Summit League. So just wanted to call out Riley Martin, Avery Van Hook, and Morgan Keeley for setting the standard here in the Summit League. Incoming transfers, 10 different transfers, I believe, coming into the Summit League this year. Very excited to see what this mix is going to do. Audrey at St. Thomas, looking at her stats, boy, you talk about a rotational player that can do it all. She is going to be one of those at St. Thomas that I've circled on my list. South Dakota State filled some voids that they needed. Middle blocker from Dayton, 6'3". I'm going to be keeping a close eye on her. How about Omaha? I said they were reloading in a hurry, and I think the transfer portal is going to help them do that. Hayden Hart comes in from Oral Roberts. She showed a lot of promise last year as a freshman, made a lot of starts. had a lot of good plays there. You land at Omaha, a transfer from Charlotte, and one from San Diego State. And once again, this list isn't just players that maybe weren't getting enough action. Most of these players were starters in their teams for last season. So a lot of talent here. North Dakota State adds a setter from a Power 4 school in West Virginia. St. Thomas also lands one from Presbyterian. North Dakota, Tessa Jacobson, I know it was JUCO, but boy, her numbers were off the charts. I think over 4 kills per set at North Dakota State School of Science. I'm excited to see what she does this year. You have a transfer from Mercyhurst coming in for the Fighting Hawks as well. So this incoming list of transfers will be one to watch. And I think, once again, you have a lot of coaches that filled some immediate voids and gave their programs a quick infusion of talent. So should be interesting to see how that plays out. Some of the top freshmen to watch. Elite Red at South Dakota. Not only do the Coyotes return 98% of their points from last season, but they land a top 100 recruit of the nation across the board. VB Adrenaline has Gabby Zachariason as an elite Red in the country. She is going to be fun to watch what type of impact she's going to make there. South Dakota has an orange coming in, and Chloe, I apologize, I mispronounced names. Oral Roberts lands a good one, and Kylie, and then Omaha, a local kid for me from West Fargo, North Dakota. Cora Metcalf, heard great things about her. I've watched her in person. She's a tremendous talent. I think she's going to make an immediate impact on that Mavericks roster. So should be fun to see how these freshmen play, along with many other freshmen that are incoming to the Summit League. But these are the top 4 anyway, according to VBAdrenaline.com, to keep an eye on this upcoming season. Now, non-conference schedules. I've spent a lot of time analyzing the schedules, had a lot of fun with this. Once again, we're still missing North Dakota, but both South Dakota and South Dakota State, top 50 non-conference schedules in the country. They scheduled some elite matches this year. St. Thomas just outside of that top 50, but they're a solid top 100 when it comes to scheduling. We'll start with St. Thomas. They're only going to play 9 non-conference matches. We see 9 to 12 here on the board. St. Thomas on the low end of the equation with 9. Their average opponent last season had a Massey rank of 101.22. They're going to play 4 matches against top 100 teams. And this year, after playing no home matches in the non-conference last year, they're going to play 4 home matches this season. South Dakota State, 11 non-conference matches. Their average Massey rank opponent is 88.09. They're going to play 7 matches against top 100 teams, 4 home matches. North Dakota State, 10 non-conference matches, average Massey rank of 178. They're going to have 1 top 100 opponent. Interesting storyline for me here as a Bison fan. No home matches in the non-conference. I'll have to travel on the road to watch the Bison. Kansas City, 12 non-conference home matches. That's the most in the league so far. Average Massey opponent rank, 232nd. They'll play 1 top 110 or 100 team in the non-conference with 6 home matches. South Dakota, the Coyotes, they're going to have 11 non-conference matches, average Massey rank of 89.09 for them. They're going to also play 7 top 100 teams in the non-conference with 3 home matches. Omaha, the Mavericks, going to play 10 non-conference matches this year. Average Massey rank there, 159.8. 4 against top 100 teams, so they still have some tough opponents there, and they're going to have 4 at home. Meanwhile, Oral Roberts, 11 non-conference matches, average Massey rank of their opponent, 265. They'll have 1 top 100 opponent and 3 matches at home. Overall, the Summit League, as it stands today, 25 top 100 non-conference opportunities. And if the Summit League is going to have 3 at-large years in a row, well, we're going to need to win some of these top 100 non-conference opportunities. And starting on August the 28th, there's a pair of them. South Dakota will take on Drake on the road. Omaha will be at Washington State on the road. So first weekend, not only the 2 on opening day, but then you have 2 more opportunities on the second day on August 29th. St. Thomas will take on Wyoming. South Dakota State will take on Pepperdine. Then on the 30th, South Dakota State will take on Villanova. And the big one coming up September 2nd, sold out already. South Dakota State will host Nebraska, the number one team in the country. They get them at home there in Brookings. But 25 top 100 opportunities here for Summit League teams. That's kind of nice to see. And it goes all the way to the end of the non-conference schedule. A couple home opportunities, not a ton. Most of the opportunities will come either on the road or on a neutral court. But if the Summit League can win maybe 12, 13 of those, watch out. Definitely a top 10 league here in 2026. So my goals for the Summit, I decided, hey, everyone's doing goals this time of the year. I'm going to make some goals for the Summit League and what I'd like to see the Summit accomplish. 2025, once again, the Summit League became one of 7 leagues or conferences to receive an at-large bid in each of the last 2 years. Simple goal for me. I want an at-large bid for the 3rd consecutive year. Yeah, let's get 2 Summit League teams in the tournament for the 3rd consecutive year. That'd be a tremendous accomplishment. Last year, the league had 3 top 100 teams in the Massey rankings, that being South Dakota State, South Dakota, and St. Thomas. This year, my goal, let's get 4. I think either Omaha or North Dakota State make that step up and give us 4 teams from the Summit League in the top 100. Last year, 2 teams ranked 300s. Let's don't have that. Let's get everyone into the top 300 this year. So my goal is to get the bottom of the Summit to take it up a notch and have 0 teams ranked in the 300s. Last year, overall, excluding Denver here, at home matches, Summit League teams had 76,278 fans in attendance. This year, I'm hoping the Summit League can draw 100,000 fans for the home matches. Obviously, South Dakota State will get us off to a good start there with the sellout already against Nebraska, but the rest of the quality across the league, I think there should be more enthusiasm this year. We're going to take that attendance up a notch. So that's my goal anyway. I'd love to see 100,000 fans across home matches in the Summit League. Then last goal, or 2 goals for me remaining, I guess. Last year, 3 programs averaged over 1,000 fans per match at home. That was South Dakota State, South Dakota, and Omaha. This year, I'd love to see that number get to 5. I think we could have 2 other programs get to that number. St. Thomas should be some excitement, enthusiasm coming off a trip to the NCAA tournament last year. Then North Dakota State without a non-conference schedule, everything being conference games at home. The Bison, if they can't average 1,000 fans per game at home this year at the Benson Bunker Fieldhouse, I'll be disappointed. I think North Dakota State's going to average over 1,000 fans per home match this year as well. That's my goals anyway that I'd like to see for the Summit League. And my final goal, let's win a match in December. It's time. I think the talent level's there, the opportunity's there. I think the Summit League's going to get the job done this year and get a win in the month of December. So that's it. I'm not a pro at this. I get tongue-tied. I get confused. I mispronounce names. I'm going to do that all season long, but I am going to have fun covering Summit League volleyball. Thank you for joining me today. And until we meet again, have fun, everyone.